It's Monday on the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
Monday, September 23rd.
It feels like fall.
Almost.
It looks like fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We picked some more apples this weekend.
I raced my bike a lot. That means it's fall in the Gulseth household.
This is true.
It's racing season.
This is true. We pick apples, you race bikes. What do you do in the fall? Drop us an email, coffee@kfuo.org, or, drop us a note on social media at KFUO Radio. Anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
Mm-hmm. We're there.
Are there other platforms? Can we make up one?
I'm sure we could.
Make up names for social media. That would be bad.
People might believe us.
Happy Monday, everyone. It's Mental Health Monday. Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour. Find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu. Time for Mental Health Monday with Deaconess Heidi Goehmann. Good morning, Heidi.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It's always a good day when we're talking mental health.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you enjoying the seasons? Are the seasons changing there in Nebraska yet?
Oh, yeah. I love it. I think seasons are good for our mental health, you know? I mean, some people live where there's no seasons, but at the same time, I think that God gives us, a refresh, in different ways. And so even if you live in a place that has a rainy season and a dry season, it's not like the 4 seasons like we have. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful refresh to have something new. And that's one reason I like living in a 4-season place, is because it's, every 3 months or so, you get something a little different.
In Florida, we called it construction and non-construction season.
Oh, there's a construction season in Michigan, too. That's
right.
Funny.
You can find that. That's
So
good.
last week we talked about why ask for help. This week we're going to get into more of the details of how to ask for help. What's that first step in asking for help?
Yeah, I think the first step is really saying the words. And we practiced that last week, so I won't make you practice that again. Although it's all about neurons and being able to rewrite that idea in our brain. And when we practice it, our brains are more ready to actually say it out loud, to a person. And so I think the first step is also because we're Lutheran, we have the ability to recognize our need for help in a different way, because we already value that. We say it every Sunday, I am a sinner and I need help from you, God. And so since we do that, of course, we can then move into our regular lives knowing that we're needy people, knowing that, we, have this space where God can come in and do healing for us. And I think that that's different than the world. The world says oh, that's weak. You don't need help. But we're already in a place where we recognize our need every Sunday or every Saturday, whenever you go to worship, whenever you're confessing with other people around you, not to put you in a box. So yeah, I think the first thing is to say it. And so since we have that confession, then we can move that on to saying it in a very practical way that Jesus is moving in our life. And we're going to go get it, in our communities and with professionals, with friends, and with our doctors and all those places and spaces. We can say, I need help. Guess what? I need help. Just say it again. I need help. So.
Yeah, you bring up a good point that a lot of asking for help does. It's viewed differently depending on your religious affiliation, your worldview, your cultural background, all of that. It's not just this question that kind of lives out there. It's our ability to ask is influenced by so many other things as well in this community that we live in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that so often, we have a strong theological doctrine and we don't necessarily think it applies to a practical vantage point of our life, And so that's one thing we do on Mental Health Mondays is let's connect those dots. And so this one is one of those that's, I think, really, really strong, in our particular worldview and vantage point, in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, is that we believe in asking for help. So we're going to go do that in our daily lives.
Absolutely. You mentioned doctors, family, friends. Who are the people that we should or could or maybe shouldn't ask for help?
I know. I think that's always I think that's one of the things I say in the Mental Health Monday video about who to ask for help is really some more resources in sorting through who to go to for a particular need. And so there's some things that are totally appropriate that you need support, you need care. You ask your spouse for help. You ask your kids even, like, hey, guess what? We all need to pick up the house. That was me this morning, right? Like, please help. And so that's like something, I mean, it's funny, but that's definitely for my mental health. Like, how about we all pick up around here? And so I think that, knowing when family is appropriate, and just asking yourself those questions. It's hard, sorting through it a little bit. Wrestling is a good part of this process. And then when to ask a friend for help, when to go to somebody in your church, when to go to your pastor for help. And I know that there's archives in KFUO. We've talked about when to go see your pastor, when to go to a counselor, when to go see a psychiatrist, those different levels of kinds of care, I guess, that you need. Mm-hmm. Certainly when it's hard and we need to seek a medical professional, but there's like often a barrier to that, it's okay to go to a friend or a family member first and say, I know I need to ask for help. Will you help me? Sometimes we just need the support in order to go see our family practitioner, to go make that appointment with a mental health professional. And that's okay. So that's a good step, is asking someone, will you go with me? Will you help me make this call? And then sometimes, though, we often turn to family and friends when what we really need is a professional. We need someone to have a safe space to help us work through things in therapy and to have tools that they can give us. And then also, though, sometimes we need medication. Sometimes we need a psychiatrist or a practitioner. And, your family doctor is a good place to start. I wouldn't end there. I think sometimes we just get stopped there, but a lot of times these things call for a specialist who is keeping up with a lot of research and things, and has a lot of options for us, and has information like genetic testing and things like that can help us get more answers. I think the most important thing is, when in doubt, when you don't feel good about the help that you've gotten or who you're talking to, ask someone else, ask again, don't stop there. Don't get discouraged, because, not all professionals are the same, and so sometimes you can have a bad experience with therapy. You can have a bad experience with one doctor and asking them for something you need. Go ahead and ask someone else. Get second opinions. Like, we are in a free market of healthcare. Like, it's okay to find someone else to ask and compare and contrast the answers that you get.
In your video, your Mental Health Monday videos from I Love My Shepherd, you mentioned clarity, having clarity in what you're asking for. Why is that important to have clarity, and how do you develop that clarity in what you're asking for when you're asking for help?
Yeah, I think the work of getting help is work. It's like grief is work. This is the same kind of idea. It's just work. We don't often see that. And so then we get really discouraged because it's so hard. And I think that it requires some work of us internally to be like, what do I actually need? Do I need friendship? Am I lonely? Or am I experiencing, symptoms of depression? Am I having a hard time getting out of bed? Am I having a hard time keeping up with my care routine? Am I having a lot of teariness and sadness? Neither of those answers is like better than another answer. The fact is, though, those are very different things to seek. And so kind of knowing what you need. I think that I would say that is something I don't see happening in a lot of people, and especially in our church workers and peoples in our churches. I think that we have a really hard time saying what we need because we think that that's prideful. And it's not. I think we can have a humble approach to saying, like, God, I need something. He says, ask, seek, and knock. And so we can come before God and do that. But that also means we can come before one another and go to professionals and say, I have a need. I'm a human. I'm not God. So I am going to be in need. And so doing that wrestling, doing that work of kind of clarifying that for ourselves and asking for people's help in clarifying it is a really good part of the process. It's a spiritual work as well as a physical and mental thing.
Mm-hmm. So getting to the point of asking for help requires a little bit of self-reflection then, in your own finding that quiet space away from your screens, and maybe away from other people to actually think through what you need. And that's easier for certain people, maybe easier for a certain gender. I don't know.
That was subtle.
No overgeneralizing, but yeah, I mean, I would say adult male professionals, it's very difficult because we're taught in our culture, like you said, that worldview comes in, even though we don't believe in it, that we need to be able to maintain a certain level of like professionalism. And that doesn't include asking for help, which is baloney. Like we've seen all of these things on social media recently about pastors and suicide. Like this is a problem that we have to address. And that requires us to ask ourselves some hard questions inside. But guess what? God will never leave us in that. And that also means that like his people it's time, for us to kind of rise up and support one another and say that to each other. Like, we are all broken. We are in this broken world. And so being able to say that is an act of, like being the light in the world, because the world certainly isn't saying it.
Deaconess Heidi Goehmann. Heidi Goehmann writes, thank you so much for being our guest on Mental Health Monday here on the Coffee Hour. Always fun to talk with you. Thanks for the help.
See you next Monday.
See you next Monday. Coming up in just a little bit, LCMS Disaster Response Conference right around the corner. Get some more details about that with our friends from LCMS Disaster Response. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
You're listening to the Coffee Hour. Stick around.